Hi, it's Jenny with Jenny's Wreath Boutique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this wreath. Woo! Isn't it so pretty? So this wreath comes with a kit, so if you want to make this exact wreath using the same materials I'm using, I'll have a link in the description to buy the kit, and that will be available until it is sold out. I'm making this wreath on a 14-inch grapevine. If you want to make a larger wreath using the kit I'm offering, I would get 2 kits if you're using an 18-inch grapevine. One kit is perfect for a 14-inch grapevine. So no worries if you have a huge door and you want a massive wreath, you can totally do that. I would just recommend buying 2 kits. Look at this gorgeous mix of materials. We've got ruscus. I'm so excited to have more of this in stock. We've got these. We've got 2 of these allium grass bundles. If you watched my wholesale unboxing last week, you saw everything here. I've got 2 bundles of these mini daisies. Aren't they beautiful? Everything is so realistic. I love it so much. And then we have 2 bundles of the Australian fern bush. Such good quality. I love these. So all of these go so well together. It's really good quality. So I wanted to offer a kit because everything is wholesale. So if you don't have a wholesale license, you can make this wreath. I'm also using hot glue and hot glue gun and my favorite wire cutters. My favorite tool is also linked in the description below. I've already cleaned up my grapevine. However, this one's pretty loose and it would work totally fine, but just an extra step if you happen to find a grapevine that's more loose. I have this bind wire. I'm just going to tighten the wreath up in a few places. I've shown this before here on YouTube with regular floral wire, but I like this because it really blends in. You can wrap it all the way around, but I'm just going to do a few pieces that need a little extra tightening. So right here it's a little loose, so I'm just squeezing the grapevine together and then wrapping the ends of the wire together so it's nice and secure, and then I just tuck it in. And see how it just brings those spaces in a little, so it's easier to place things into the grapevine and it makes it go faster. I like to get my grapevines in the Michaels Pro Packs, and often there are less than perfect grapevines in those, but I don't have the time in my days to go through them once they all arrive and then return any that are not perfect. So I use up all of them. And I just have different ways of dealing with imperfect grapevines. I actually have a training on that in my VIP group, but this is a new thing I've been doing with bind wire. So anyway, see, it just tightens it up a little bit. The main kit doesn't come with a grapevine because most people like to get their own, but you can order a kit with a grapevine, and I will give you my best grapevines that I have. So just so you know, I clean them up for you too. I can't send you a grapevine full of leaves and twigs sticking out everywhere. All right, the first thing we're going to use is our ruscus, and since we're using 1 stem for a whole wreath, and I don't know if you notice, but this greenery is a lot darker than this other greenery. This has some darker spots in it, but that makes it stand out. So because of that, I am going to cut these up into mainly individual pieces. That way the greenery is distributed throughout. So I'm literally just cutting every piece as close to the leaf before as possible, so there's no extra stem sticking up, and it gives us the longest stem possible here. Except for these bottom 2. I'm going to leave those together because that stem is really thick. Everything in this wreath is such good quality. I want every leaf to shine, not be wasted. So one thing you might notice is some of the leaves point out, some of the leaves point in, very few of them are straight. So we're going to use them how they would naturally want to lay. So these that point out will go on the outside. I'll just dab some glue, put it along the grain of the grapevine, and so it'll stick out, and then we'll go down a little bit, and this one goes more on the inside and it will go in like this. And then we're just going to do that throughout the rest of the wreath. And we're not adding them in super close because we only have enough from 1 bush. When you have a really high quality product, I like to use it very intentionally so every piece has a purpose and it's not wasted at all, so you can get more for your money. So that's why we are making this one stem of ruscus spread all the way around the wreath so perfectly. And with this wreath, we are just adding one layer at a time. Really simple. All right, so now we have our first layer in. Now we're going to cut up our 2 bushes. These have 2 separate pieces. There's a little chunk up on the top, chunk up on the bottom, and we are going to cut this in half so that we can more intentionally place each item. And these are not ones that push up, so no need to glue or anything like that. So now we have 2 pieces from each one of these stems. Now that our pieces are cut up into individual picks, we're going to place them in and out and cover the grapevine all the way around. And I'm going to be pretty conservative, not placing them too close together until I'm all the way around the wreath. And then if I have extras, I can fill in any gaps. Every grapevine is different. The one I initially made this on was a pretty large 14-inch grapevine. It was probably closer to 15. And so the greenery didn't spread as far. So I had to be really intentional to get really good coverage of the grapevine. And it ended up looking gorgeous in the end, as will this. So I'm just placing inside and outside. All right, now that I've gone all the way around, I'm just using the leftover pieces to fill in any places that the grapevine is showing a lot. And if your wreath isn't perfectly round, this is a great way to beef up any areas that need a bit extra greenery. This is so pretty. This would look good in a winter wreath too, wouldn't it? Even though we're making a summer wreath, this year-round greenery is so good. All right, now that our greenery base is done, we are going to move on to our bundles. And look how perfect these are for summer. It looks like you went through a meadow and just picked a nice bouquet. I love this. And I think it works great into fall as well. Spring, summer, early fall. I love this wreath. It's really versatile. So what I'm doing is I'm just undoing the bow, unwrapping these, and then we're going to sort them. So some of these can be a little loose, so just take them off, pull on them. If they come off really easily, just add some glue and put them back on, which is totally normal for florals. Sometimes it's a hassle. If you're just making this for yourself, it's not a big deal. You can just glue it on if you find that it comes off. But since I make these for customers, I like to make sure everything's safe and secure. So I'm also going to cut up the stems, make them a little shorter because they're pretty long, which is nice. And then this grass bunch, there's only one, but it's kind of got a nice separation point in the middle. And I'm just going to cut that in half so that we will have 4 total. So we've got big craspedia and small ones. I'm separating those as well. And this just helps the wreath look even as I add things layer by layer. It doesn't have to be perfectly even because we want it to look natural, but I like to have it pretty even and balanced looking. Okay, I'm going to start with these, and I have 4, 2 from each bundle. So I'm just going to add them evenly around the wreath in the middle. This adds such a fun texture. I love it. Those little white flowers are really going to be brought out when we add in the daisies later. Just all those little details and touches really make this wreath pretty. Now I'm going to add in these. I only have 2, so I'll just put them right across from each other. And when you have these longer stems, it can be nice. Just make sure you're really angling it along the grapevine so they don't poke through the back. And it makes them really secure. But if they do poke through the back, you can cut them off. Now I'm going to add in my grasses. I've got 4 of these because I cut them in half. I just love all these textural details. They're so simple and small, but they really add so much interest to a wreath. Especially when someone comes up to your door, knocks, and they're waiting. They have something pretty to look at. Then you can impress them, telling them you made it yourself. All right, now I'm gonna add in my larger size craspedia, or alliums, whatever you wanna call them. And I have more of these than I have of the small ones. I have twice as many. So I'm gonna add some to the middle, and then outside a little. I just love when we bring in these pops of color. It's so pretty. So fun for summer. And this is going to be the last kit for summer this year. Next is going to be a fall, which is crazy to think about because it's just the beginning of June. And I don't know if you're noticing when I'm placing these, here I'll place it really quick. If it's hidden at all, I can pull up the stem and that'll bring the color part forward among the greenery so you can see it. And now we're just going to add in the smaller ones where we have space, and we only have 4, so we don't have a ton. Last but not least, our daisies. And these are just really going to bring this wreath together. I love these daisies. And if any of the heads fall off, just add them back on. Or if they're missing one, no one's going to notice. So this one is missing. Can you see that right there? So I don't have any extras. So I'm just going to chop that off. You can't even tell. So I'm going to cut these up so they are 2 picks from each stem. And now we're just going to add these in the wreath. I like to add the thicker ones. If there's any grapevine showing, I like to add these there because that really covers it up, which is nice. And then I'm just going to be rotating the big and small, but not perfectly every other because I want it to look natural. Sometimes I want the bigger clumps on the outside, sometimes I want them on the inside. Sometimes that bottom leaf gets in the way, so if it does, just pull it off. You don't need it. So these are really bringing color and they are helping cover up any grapevine. And they're just bringing that beautiful, dainty white throughout the wreath. So pretty. Covered the whole wreath, just go back and see where you can add more. I always like to place everything conservatively at first and then fill in the gaps. All right, what do you think? Oh my gosh, I love it. Check out all those details. Oh, it's so pretty. So what do you think of this beautiful summer wreath? Don't you love it? It's so perfect for summer. Anyway, if you want to make this with these exact materials, don't forget I do have a kit available until supplies last. It's linked in the description. All right, if you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.